Okay, good evening and welcome to our Creating a Blueprint for Your Success in 2019. Really excited to have the opportunity to, let me bring my ugly mug onto the screen. Really excited to have the opportunity to share some of my ideas and thoughts that really can empower you to break free from maybe the shackles of society, break free from the challenges, the self-imposed limitations that maybe have held you back from achieving massive success in different areas of your life in 2018. Or maybe, like others around the globe today, you've had an amazing year. And, maybe it's had its challenges, it's had its trials, it's had its tribulations, but it's been an amazing year because of what you've focused, what you've given, and therefore what you've been rewarded, maybe in time, in reward, in love, in connections, in relationships, whatever it may be, right? So one of the things I love about this time of year, yes, Christmas is coming, and there is always this Christmas spirit. You see people, maybe I guess after the sun and the clocks have changed and the days get a little bit darker and a little bit colder. I think, it has an effect on people. And, I guess mindset is huge. But one of the things I love about this time of year is people's sparkle comes alive. Even for those that, may not celebrate Christmas, it's that quality time. Christmas has become, I guess more than what it was many years ago. It's a commercial minefield of opportunity. We get the opportunity to make the most of, all sorts of commercial ideas that are brought our way. We get the opportunity to make the most of the opportunity, the desire maybe to buy people we love a present for Christmas, should that be what you do, right? So, but what I love about this time of year is everyone gets that jolly feeling, right? No pun intended. But it's the opportunity to spend quality time with the people you love. It's the opportunity to even reflect and focus on what you really want to achieve in the future. You might be thinking, right, things are going great, and but we want a better year next year than we had this year. Maybe you're looking to maybe develop a level of fitness, and that could be, seeing people, amazes me, seeing people making the decision to run a half marathon, even a full marathon, and they put themselves in the position. And here's the thing, there's a power when you make a conscious decision to do something with pure passion and desire. Write that down. There is a power when you make a true conscious decision to do something with a pure desire and passion. You see, what I'm going to share with you this evening is how you can, I guess, reflect on a fantastic year, make the most of this time of year to, build your own blueprint. I'm going to guide you to get started, but I also want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to have a sense of belonging. Within this community, we have an opportunity to feed off others, to have that courage, to have that confidence because of the environment, because of the support infrastructure, to do something out of the ordinary, to do something that's a little bit uncomfortable. We all know, from what you see on social media, the comfort zone's like here and the magic's up here, right? So it's always coming out of our comfort zone. And I want you to have the courage. I want to challenge you to make the most of this time of year, develop a balance of time, be dynamic. You may be an entrepreneur, you may be an employee, you may be an athlete, you may be a parent, you may be all of the above. But I want to empower you to have an element of an element of balance, but also to be dynamic, enabling yourself to almost at this time of year. I always think the importance of developing a schedule, a strategy, a plan, like a military operation, so that you get the chance to flow with life's energy, because this day you're doing X, Y, and Z, this day you're doing X, Y, and Z. So you can almost remove the worry from the mind. And this is one of the things that I find. So many people spend so much time worrying rather than doing. And I'll share something with you, and you may have heard me talk about this before, but this is really, really important. And, people often talk to me about, life's a roller coaster. Yeah, it is. It's an adventure and it's exciting. And some of you may not like the roller coaster. Some of you may like the highs. Some of you may like the lows. Some of you may like the journey. But what's really, really important is to understand this. Where attention goes, energy flows. What you think about is what you bring about. What you give focus to, you give energy to. More often than not, what you think about most of the time, you tend to attract and bring into your life. Why? Let me explain my thought process of the law of attraction very, very quickly before we get started. And for those of you on a webinar with me for the first time, I have these little tangents that really just come from the heart because I want to share this with you. The law of attraction doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to think something into your life. Yet at the same time, it's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to think something into your life. What do I mean by that? The more attention you give to something, you develop a way of thinking, and unconsciously, your mind starts to find solutions. This is the power of the human ability, the human mind, and the human body. It's within your DNA to succeed. You are developed to act in line with your habits and what you think about most of the time. So by giving attention, thinking about things, having a positive mindset, you know, successful people are great thinkers, right? So thinking big, and we're going to talk about this as we go through this evening's webinar, right? And I'll get started on the webinar in a minute. But it's about you're not going to think something into your life, but it's exactly what you're going to do. Because unconsciously, you are then compelled to be solution focused and find a way to do the things and gain the power, taking unconscious actions in line with what you're thinking about most of the time. So yes, what you think about most of the time is more often than not what you'll bring into your life. But I want you to think about this for a moment. The ups and downs of life are part of Mother Nature. Let me just ask you the question. The sun rises in the east and it sets in the west. Sun up, sun down. Okay. The sea goes out and the sea comes in. Tide goes out, the tide comes in. The seasons of the year, summer, spring, let me get them in right. So we have autumn, winter, spring, summer, right? So autumn, winter, spring, summer, the seasons come and the seasons go. Think about how you breathe, right? Your heart expands and it retracts. The ups and downs are part of life. Embrace them. What you focus on is where you go. If you focus on the depths of despair, the ups and downs of life will most certainly take you there. If you focus on elation, excitement, adventure, love, passion, relationships, achievement, goals, ambition, positivity, the ups and downs of life will take you there too. So removing the worry and literally enjoying the opportunity to have things a little bit mapped out. You know, I'm a Gemini. Not really sure what that actually means, but I know there's certain things that I think are true. There's certain things that may or may not be. And, you know, it's really, I guess, what you believe. But what I do believe is I love spontaneity. I love adventure. I love, trying new things. I love literally dropping the hat and running off and doing something crazy. But what enables me to do that without worrying is almost having a plan. So for me to have the balance, and this is what I want to talk to you about, I want you to have the balance of having the quality time with the people you love at Christmas. But at the same time, I want to challenge you to do the things in line with your values and your priorities that we're going to discuss this evening. This is really fundamentally important. Now, very quickly, if you haven't downloaded this 15-ish minutes ago, hang on, where are we? 29 minutes ago, you would have received an email with a link to download this. It comes on 2 A4 pieces of paper. You can see I have stuck mine together at the back and I've got it prepared. This is my new one that I am going to be working on, and I'm going to be sharing with you the one I did before. So we'll get to that. If you haven't downloaded that and printed that off, right, let me just get the link for you all. Ba-da-ba-ba. There it is. Bang. There is the link. Okay. I really would like you to be involved. So if you've not done that, please click on that. Keep listening. Print. Get your partner to print. Do something. Get it organized whilst we get started on this evening's webinar training. So this program really, and this training is, for me, to be really brutally honest, and I have really high expectations. So I want to program the high expectation into you. What I want to advise that you do. My phone is turned on silent. It's turned off. It's put out of my mind's eye. It's out of reach, so to speak. And I'm focused here in the moment. When you're there, you really need to be there. So I want to challenge you. In fact, I'm just going to close my Facebook down so the notifications stop popping up. My emails have closed down. I've closed everything down to stop the world grabbing my attention when my attention is here. And this is the great look, in the world today, we have so many ways to communicate and interact with people around the globe. But actually, when you're in the moment, be there, because it's the power of now that really creates the opportunity for you to learn, develop, and grow. So I really want to program high expectation. I'm 100% committed to you. This evening, I am doing this webinar training out of dedication, desire to be able to positively influence you to have the greatest year in 2019 you've ever had in your life. There is no monetary gain for me whatsoever in doing this webinar. I am literally doing it out of love and passion to be able to influence you. So I'd like and expect the same kind of commitment. So shut everything off. Let's get focused. And the last thing I want you to do is remember that a short pencil is much better than a long memory. Get things onto paper. As you're doing things, I will be taking notes. As I say things, and for those of you that may have been on trainings before or worked with me, you'll know when I'm talking, sometimes I stop and I make notes, okay? And I think it's really important that we make notes ourselves, because this is a webinar training that you really are going to want to follow through with, okay? I promise you, I'm committed to really make a difference. So there's 4 kinds of people that this may be relevant to. There's the problem solver, there's the dynamic individual, there's the people, and there's people that have an unhealthy obsession with alcohol and sex. And it really, really doesn't matter where you fit into on this kind of the type of different people. You can kind of segment yourself into a square, a triangle, a circle, or I don't even know what that is, right? But whatever. Bottom line, wherever you are in life, whatever personality you have, okay, whether you are, a powerful choleric, whether you're the life and soul of the party, or whether you're a little bit phlegmatic, you're a little bit more chilled and reserved and calm, or whether you are, a dynamic individual, or you have a love for people, or you like to almost sit behind the scenes and be a little bit solution orientated and directive. It's completely irrelevant. Having an unhealthy obsession for alcohol and sex might hinder you a little bit from a time perspective, right? And a focus point of view. However, really, this webinar is for absolutely everyone. Anyone that seeks change, anyone that seeks growth, anyone that wants to start living the dream, start working towards developing a life to live the dreams they have. And that really is open to absolutely everybody, regardless of where you live in the world, what your background is, what kind of personality you have, what habits you have, what skills you have. Because what we've done, everything of who we are and the actions we've taken have led us to right here today. It's what we do from now on. It's how we think. It's the choices we make and the actions we take in the moments of the day when no one else is looking that will take us towards the life that we want to live, to have fruitful relationships, to have, wealth and health and an abundance of time to spend it with the people you love spending time with, right? So something I recently shared on Facebook, and I think this is really, really important, because these 4 things really do make a difference. We're going to talk about goals this evening. Goals are what energize you if they're right. And some people can kind of, goals. You can dress it up however you like, whether it's goals, whether it's ambitions, whether it's targets, whether it's results, however you want to terminalize that word. Every action we take in life, we take with a predetermined end goal in mind. Okay. Every action we take in life, absolutely everything, is taken with a predetermined end goal in mind, something that we want to achieve, a desire, a need, whatever it may be. And there's two drivers in life, right? We are either driven to avoid pain or driven to seek pleasure. Okay. But bottom line, goals, that drive, that truth, which we're going to lost my voice then, which we're going to talk about this evening, is what will energize you to create a successful now and a successful future. Goals are what energize you. Growth, personal growth, is what inspires you. And that can be like this evening, personal growth, being on a webinar, being maybe inspired by other people, maybe reading a fantastic book. Don't know if you've had this book, right? Elastic Attitude. A crazy little plug there. But whatever it is, personal growth in your success, growth in yourself, growth in your fitness, growth in your relationship, it inspires you to carry on. Okay. Clarity is what empowers you. Clarity really, it's kind of having clarity on the ultimate outcome. When you remove the frog and you have crystal clear clarity on what you want, how you're going to get there, it empowers you to act. And bottom line, change is what's going to complete you. We live in a world that is constantly changing. You never stand in the same place twice. You're either changing on purpose or you're changing on accident. We are all aware, and I'm really pleased that you're spending some of the time to join me this evening, but we are what we consume. What we consume is what we become. What we eat is what creates our body shape. What we do fitness-wise is what creates our body shape. And I don't necessarily mean that you have to have like muscles and you just have to be happy in your shell, right? But we know what we eat is what creates our health, right? So if you take eat and kind of like a fitness regime, could just be walking, could be jogging, could be running, could be taking your dog for a walk an hour a day, but eating the right things, what we consume and what we give our body, we know has an effect on our health and our well-being. But at the same time, what you feed your mind, and we're either, changing on purpose because we're making a choice, or we're changing by accident because we're being changed by the power of influence and association. So look, goals are going to energize you. Growth is going to inspire you. Clarity is going to empower you. Change is what will ultimately complete you. How we change is how we succeed. Okay. So many of you may have come across me talking about this before, and I'm really passionate about how we're influenced by our environment, socially conditioned and environmentally influenced to think, be, and act in a certain way. And what that does is it creates habits, and we live our life in line with our habits and our belief systems. We act more often than not unconsciously, just like I was talking about earlier. We act unconsciously in line with our beliefs, and everything is making a difference. Now, why am I showing you a box of chocolates, right? Not because it's Christmas, not particularly because I love chocolate, although I guess most people do love chocolate to a certain extent, right? But it's from a reminder from a movie, and some of you would have heard the movie or even watched the movie. It's a worldwide box office hit. It's called Forrest Gump, and Tom Hanks was playing Forrest, and in the movie, he sat talking to an old lady and talking to her about his friend Jenny, and he says, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. But this kind of, that one sentence, right? That one well-known movie phrase has influenced the world to think in a certain manner. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. You never know what's going to come your way. Yes, a great movie, Sarah, but actually an incorrect phrase that has conditioned the world to think in a certain way. Everyone's heard that phrase that's watched that movie. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. The reason why I wanted to bring that up, because for me, it's all about shaping the way you think. And you're right. Life is like a box of chocolates, because actually every box of chocolates that I have ever been given at Christmas, whether I've purchased, whatever box of chocolates it is, Every single box of chocolates that I've ever seen in my life always has a little card on it telling you exactly which chocolate is which. Now, when I spoke at an event a few years ago, I discovered that actually most ladies that have a passion for chocolate no longer need the menu card because they already know which one they like. So actually, we look at the menu card, or we know through previous experience what to choose in line with what we like, desire, want, and prefer. So life is like a box of chocolates. You get exactly what you choose. And when you start to realize that the world is a playground, the world is meant to be abundant, you can become, learn, and develop a worth to achieve absolutely anything in your life you desire. You just have to make the choice. Like I said at the very beginning, there is a power when you make a conscious decision to choose to do something in line with your passions and your desires. So life is like a box of chocolates. We get what we choose. We get what we think about. We get what we act upon. Fascinating, hey? And when you start to comprehend that, you carry a lot of power when you totally understand and believe. You will have seen this before, and I think this is really important. When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. Do you know, a lot of people are, and it goes back to the two drivers: to avoid pain or to seek pleasure. Avoid pain or seek pleasure. Whatever your ultimate outcome, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then for sure you will most certainly succeed. But one of the things that I find is most people have this missing link because they avoid developing an emotional congruency with what truly and really matters for them. So it goes back to this environmental conditioning, you know, that box of chocolates, for example, or, you know, the world in which you live in. You know, we all have goals, dreams, and aspirations from when we was a child, but we often lose sight of them. The dreams we have as children fade away. And through human nature to mirror and to associate, we start to develop through a power of association, through our environment, socially and environmentally conditioned, right? So then we still start to set goals and dreams, but we set them in line with where we are in life. And very few people set goals outside of their comfort zone, but when they do, they also set them in line with maybe this social and environmental conditioning. So, you know, I want, you know, a semi-detached house or a detached house or this or that holiday, or, you know, you see the new in holiday going to maybe Santorini in Greece, right? Do you know what? Let's be really honest. 15 years ago, I'd never heard of Santorini. So it was not actually a true goal until it was influenced on me by others. Does that make sense? So we set goals in line with what's truly important to us. But here's the thing. Let me take Santorini as an example. So Santorini, the reason I'm telling you this, and this is the missing link, because when the wind blows, because to succeed in life, every goal and ambition is going to be presented with a challenge and an obstacle for you to overcome to become worth that reward, period. So let's say the challenge and the obstacles come my way to go on holiday to Santorini, but actually it's not an emotional truth for me, because actually it was a goal that was set because of outside influence rather than inner emotional motivation. So when the wind blows and the challenge comes, Santorini is not really that important to me. I'm probably not going to do the things that others will not do in order to have the things that others will not have. However, if it was a trip to Lapland with my two little girls, so that before the magic of Christmas goes, before they're too old, if it, I don't think you can ever be too old for Lapland, by the way, but, you know, just at that age, I really want to do it in 2019. I'm passionate about it. And guess what? I want to succeed as much as I want to breathe. Now that, when the wind blows, when the challenges come, when the obstacles come, I will do the things that others will not do in order to overcome them obstacles and challenges, because that goal is emotionally connected to what's really, really important to me. Does that make sense? Please let me know if that makes sense if you're listening to the training. And I was going to ask you guys something at the very beginning, but I got really, really excited and was going to ask you this. What is it that you're looking to accomplish this evening? Let me come down. Oh, okay. Let me scroll down. Oh no, we scroll up to the very top. We've got Annie, Defo, perfect sense. Brilliant. So more often than not, people have this missing link where, yes, they have goals, dreams, and aspirations, but they're not truly emotionally congruent. Now, congruence is one of my favorite words because you have to have a congruency with what's really, truly important to you. That's where everything's in line, mind, body, and soul. Then you can really, really drive. But what happens is when you have this incongruency, your actions never meet your intentions. When you're congruent, you're empowered to act in line with your intent. So that's what's really, really important. So on that note, I want to talk to you about a 4-step expert model. Today, we're really going to focus on the number one priority because it is a step-by-step process where you discover what's emotionally important to you. It's developing that emotional congruency, discovering that truth that's really going to empower you to do the things that others will not do. And let me be really honest, sometimes these things will be selfish, but more often than not, in my experience, they're driven by a love for other people. They're driven by a desire to do something for and with others. It's human nature for good, honest, genuine individuals to do more for others than they would do for themselves. Do you know why? Because we never want to feel like we've let someone down. But actually, I want to flip that around, and I want you to think about never letting yourself down, having the same kind of self-respect. Because actually, and it's funny now because it's just sent me off on a little mind tangent. I've been working on some content recently, and do I tell you? Yeah, why not? Next year, I'm going to be running a weekend event in London and called the Passion to Succeed, Unlock Your Success Weekender. It's a phenomenal event. And one of the things is about community. One of the parts of the event is about communication, the 3 keys and elements to really being able to communicate and develop really strong, lasting relationships. However, it's the relationship with yourself that's really important. So we do more for others than we would do for ourselves. But I want you to still have that ethos, but I just want you to start learning to do things with the same passion for yourself, for that self-reward, that self-respect. Hey, Jane, goals are not money orientated. It's what money enables you to do. Let me share this with you. Bottom line, honey, if I'm sorry for calling you honey, but bottom line is this. Money is a commodity and it's second in the world to oxygen. Okay, you need oxygen in order to live and do the things with the people you love. You also need financial reward. You need money to be able to live in the house you're living in. You need money to be able to connect to this webinar this evening on this laptop. What money does, money, look, you know, people have this attraction to money. You know, money doesn't grow on trees. Well, let me be really honest. Money's made out of paper. Paper comes from trees. There's an abundance of wealth out there. It's not having money. It's what money enables you to do. Now, let me share a little philosophy with you that I learned from a guy called Dennis Waitley. Here it is. Please write this down. What's the use of knowledge and money if you're unable to give it away? What's the use of money, knowledge and money if you're unable to give it away? I'll share with you a goal of mine. Passion to succeed. You know, I have a goal to take this business global, massive, and there's a goal that sits behind that. Do you know why? Why? That I have passion to succeed, to influence the children of the world, to have a positive impact on the kids around the globe. But I'm unable to help the poor by being poor. I know I'm unable to fly a team of people out to a country and build a school or to build a what's the word? Like a gathering center, a community center, right? You know, there's underprivileged individuals all around the globe. Without money, I'm unable to do something magical. A friend of mine once told me, Craig, you're unable to help the poor by being poor. So I completely understand where you're going from. It's not about being money orientated. Goals don't have to be money orientated. However, more often than not, for me to go and spend quality time with my children in Lapland to share that experience, I'm unable to do it on shirt buttons. So I need to do certain things, you know, and I'm afraid it's a commodity of the world. It's the world we live in. And yeah, I understand your vibe though, but what you want to focus on, instead of focusing on the money, focus on the feeling, focus on the feeling of sharing, focus on the feeling of giving, focus on the feeling of achievement, focus on the feeling of, you know, I'm not sure, like individual circumstances on here, right? But focus on the thought process of being able to have all of your family round and, you know, having a summer barbecue with them, for example, and none of them have to worry about anything financially because you're able to take care of that. So yeah, I get what you're saying. However, I do apologize, and I'm sure you're aware it's the second most important commodity in the world, because without oxygen and without money, you're unable to live and do the things you need to do in life. So that's, you know, you need to have this growth of love for money because of what you can do with it in the form of influencing other people. Hope that makes sense, ladies. Discovering is important. It's where you discover an emotional motivation, whatever that may be. I've just shared one of mine with you, to be able to fly a team of people somewhere around the world and do something magical for underprivileged individuals. So, you know, there needs to be some kind of financial success to be able to do that. That's really good. Small goals are really, really important as well. And I think it doesn't really matter. You know, the goals can be really, really small, but as long as they're important to you, they can be small, you know, goals. Now, I want to wake up tomorrow morning. That's quite a big goal, right? But look, every action we take the goal in mind, but it's about discovering what's important to you, one step at a time. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. But I also want to share this with you. You're going to think anyway, so you might as well think big. Okay. You're going to dream anyway. You may as well dream big. You know, there's a philosophy in life. Aim for the moon. If you miss it, at least you're amongst the stars. Okay. So everything is mindset. You know, Will Smith talks about, you know, realistic thinking. You know, being realistic is the most common road trodden towards a life of mediocrity and underachievement. Be optimistic. Believe in the possibilities. And, you know, I'm trying to think of, you know, some goals that I've got that are relevant to what Jackie said, but my brain's just gone. Okay, they're the wrong goals. So what I'm going to share with you this evening is going to change the way you think about goals, and it's going to give you the impact to really get congruent to what's really and ultimately important to you. The challenge is all the goals that most people in the world set are not important to them emotionally. And when you're not emotionally driven, you won't take the steps to really define and determine, you know, where you are, what you need to do, the strategy to succeed, and then have the passion to drive, the passion to step out of your comfort zone and do the things that others will not do in order to have the rewards that others will not have. Remember, every goal and ambition will be presented with an obstacle and a challenge for you to overcome, develop new skills, and become worth the reward. It's really important. We must become worth the reward through our contribution. Give value without need of compensation. Do it because you love it. The compensation will come, and that will enable you to remember to what's the use of money and knowledge if you're unable to give it away. That's brilliant, Annie. You know, absolutely fantastic goal. Right. So look, let's move on to where we really want to be. So you know, why are things important to you? It is important that you develop a why power, and you would have heard this so many times in the past, I'm sure, but you know, it is really kind of almost sometimes asking this simple question. You know, I was quite, you know, curious as a young kid, and I guess I still am now as a young adult. And you know, I remember Mum should say duck, right, if we're in the car, which she never did, right, because we never needed to. But if she said duck, my sisters would go, and I'd go, why? You know, so it's having that inquisitive desire to question yourself. Why is this important to me? Why does this truly matter? And this is the thing that's part of the missing link. People set these goals, but they never really determine why that's important. Why is it important to them? Why is it that they're going to go forward and do things that they wouldn't ordinarily do? Why would they sacrifice? What's the feeling of achieving this, or what's the feeling of loss? So it's really about asking some really solid questions to be able to learn, develop what's really emotionally important to you. And we're going to go through that in a moment. But this is a few points that I want you to really understand. We all have our own individual values and priorities. We live by them daily. In fact, we live by our own values individually. Now, one of the key things is your goals and your values must be congruent. So, an easy way, and I shared you an example earlier, and one that I often like to share in the world that I live in, it was having a goal for a Ferrari 458 Italia isn't congruent, okay, with my need and important number one desire to spend quality time with my two little girls, because a Ferrari 458 Italia has 2 seats. There's 3 of us. So when the wind blows, the challenges come. Am I going to be driven to work for a Ferrari 458 Italia when it's incongruent with my desire to go on adventures with my 2 little girls, because I'm unable to get them both in the car? So it's an incongruent goal. And because it's an incongruent goal, it will not inspire me for my actions to meet my intentions. So this is where you have to develop a congruency with what truly matters to you, because we all have individual priorities and values, and these are individual to ourselves, and they are what drive us. Okay, so this is where we are today to develop this congruency with your goals and your values. When your values are attached to your goals, you will move away from where you are today. So if you think of, goals are very often, if you consider this as like a roadmap, like, one of the things you need to reprogram. This will come in future trainings and on the Unlock Your Success Weekender, but it's about, training your RAS, that is basically like your GPS, your sat nav for where you want to go in life. And if you imagine, where you are today and where you want to be. So this is A and this is B. And if your values, your inner values are attached to your goal, you will move away from where you are. But when your goals and your values are not connected, they're not congruent, it's easy to remain in the comfort zone. So you remember the philosophy of, comfort zone magic. You stay comfortable when there's no congruency and no connection with your values and goals. But when they are attached, when they are truly detached and you get them right, you will be empowered to step out of your comfort zone and move away from where you are today. You'll be empowered to sacrifice and prioritize. It's really easy to make sacrifices. And, I look back over the years, when I felt sometimes I was sacrificing time here in order to do here, right? Actually, when I look back, there was no sacrifice at all, because when you love what you do, when you're contributing truly to what's important to you, there is no sacrifice. It seems that it's just part of the journey and you flow with passion and purpose. And the great thing is, and this is sometimes, we hear often the word loyalty being branded here, there, and everywhere. Every individual in the world will always, always, always remain loyal to their goals and their priorities. So here's the thing, when your values and priorities, everyone will always stay loyal to their values and their priorities. Now, when somebody's values and priorities are not the same as somebody else, people are loyal to this, not loyal to this. Does that make sense? So I guess there was something branded about years ago, kind of keeping up with the Joneses. Neighbor gets a new car. The other neighbor feels like they need to get a new car to keep up, so to speak. And it's just association. But actually, when there's no congruency, when there's the values and priorities aren't really connected to the goals, the loyalty, people can think, they're not being very loyal to me. No, they're not loyal to your goals and your values and your priorities. People are loyal to their own. So this is where you'll find birds of a feather flock together, right? People with similar values and priorities can sometimes be magnetized towards each other. You know, like attracts like. We've all heard that before. So you get into this empowering environment which gives you courage and confidence to really break free. But you will always be loyal to your values and your priorities. So if you make sure that your goals are connected to them, which we're going to establish in a moment, the loyalty, you'll never let yourself down like you wouldn't let other people down, because you have a loyalty to what's on your, you know, your highest value in life, you know, what's meaningful, and obviously what's a priority for you, what's your number one priority, and what's most meaningful to you, you take ownership of. And this is really important to understand. So what your highest values are in life, whether that's family, whether that's love, whether that's business, whether it's health, whether it's wealth, whether it's spirituality, whether it's education, personal development, adventure, whatever is important to you from a value perspective and a priority is really where you will naturally take ownership for. So this is where, if you can comprehend this, if you get connected to your goals, all right, and I'm going to show you the simple way of doing this because I'm waffling a little bit. If you get connected to your goal, your values and priorities connected to your goals, I'm telling you what, nothing, not all the armies in the world will stop you, because your time has come. And it's now time of your time to come. It's now this time of year where you can implement this wheel of life. So I'm not sure if you guys have got this ready. I really do hope you have printed it off, sellotaped it up, and you're really ready. Now, I'm just going to show you mine. I'm going to go through. This is one that I did maybe 8 months ago. And where are we now? December, April, maybe March, maybe 9 months ago. And so it's really very irrelevant. There's been a lot of change since I did this. So it's really important now that I really focus on, you know, making sure that I'm ebbing with the flow and the ripple effect of change in my life. So everyone happy? Any questions on anything before we move to the next step? Okay, I'm taking that as a yes. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to work through with you what's called the wheel of life to discover your true priorities and what the action steps are, I guess, important for you to make sure that you get your goals. Not from me. Brilliant. Thank you, Sean. Just reading that thinking, not from me. What's not? Oh yeah, no questions. Have to keep up with myself, Sean. So thank you for that. Right. So this wheel of life, I believe, is an opportunity for you to discover what's priority to you, what your goals are, and what your actions are in line with your values and priorities. So what I'm going to advise you to do, and you know, this really needs to come from your heart. So you need to try and think about this as an individual. I am probably going to give you some idea. Well, I am no probably about it. I'm going to give you some ideas and some inspiration of what I've put on mine. So what you have here, what you have here is you have a wheel of life. Okay. So in the middle, so the inside creates the outside. So in the middle, you've got, it's almost like a Trivial Pursuit. So you can see it's sectioned off into, if you look at it, it's sectioned off into triangles. In the middle, you've got your priorities. Then you've got your middle circle, which is your goals, and your outer circle, which is your actions. Then you've got outside the circle. I want you to write. So outside of the circle. So let me show you one. I don't know if you can see that, me being me. Okay, so you can see outside of the circle, I've written one of the things, a value that's really important to me: family and my girls. Okay, my family and my girls are really high on my value list. It's really important for me to be able to spend quality time and with those that I love, whether it be adventures, etc., etc. So it's really about establishing your values. So what I want you to do, there's 8 segments here. And I want you to think about 8 areas of your life that are really important to you. Now, that could be, one could be health and fitness, one could be personal development, could be investment, could be business, could be family, could be spirituality, could be adventure and travel. But what I'd like you to do is write down on the outside what things are important to you. These are individual to you. Could be absolutely anything. If you feel like you want to share yours in the chat, that would be great. I'll share mine with you. I've got family and my girls, passion to succeed, business, personal development, relationships and social life, health and fitness, adventure and travel, wealth and investments. These are areas of focus that are really important and high on my value list. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is on the outside, like I just showed you, obviously I've highlighted mine. Let me try and show you again. So you'll see on the outside of the circle, not inside, I've just written what the value is for me. And then what we're going to do, once you've done that, everyone happy with this so far? I'm going to take that as a yes. So what we're now going to do is we're now going to start on the inside and start to work out. So I want you to pick one of your values, you know, whatever that may be, pick any one you like. We're only going to work on one this evening, okay? Remember, art and success is in the art of the follow through. So we're going to start in the middle. Now, what you'll see in the middle of this circle is you'll see there's little lines marking. So if you just count them, if you look at them, you'll count them. The first line represents 1, and then right out to the outside of line that kind of goes around the outside circle here. So you've got the circle in the middle that represents 10. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now what this does is it actually gives you the opportunity to establish in this priority in your life where you feel that you are giving attention. Where are you in a form of satisfaction? So for example, if I was to take my health and wellness and let me have a look. Health and fitness. So if I take my health and fitness, I'm going to grade myself of how I feel happy. And sometimes we can be a little bit brutal on ourselves, you know, be nice, be kind to yourself as well as to others, right? So I'm going to grade myself out of 10, actually a 6 out of 10. Okay. I eat well. I go to the gym regularly, but am I where I want to be? It's gaining that balance. Okay. So actually, no, there's things that I'd like to add. There's disciplines that I would like to learn and get better at. For example, I've just started yoga, so I'm early, you know, getting back into yoga. I used to do it years ago. So I'm going to grade myself a 6 out of 10. Let me just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm just going to now look, some of you will be, you know, really, really particular with this, you know, loving coloring it in, making it look pretty. I'm trying to do this really quickly. Well, there's no trying. I am doing it really quickly. And then I'm just going to write 6 out of 10. So I can show you on my circle. That's what I've done. Okay, I've just graded it. I've marked me out 6 out of 10. So I can see immediately where I am in this part of my life. Okay, so what you're going to do, not right now, what you're going to do is you're going to work around, we're going to focus on this one. So I'm going to focus on health and fitness. But I want you to literally look at each of your values and each of these priorities in your life, your values and your priorities. And I want you to literally mark. It's not like grading yourself from a negative perspective. It's looking at a positive thing. Where are you? What's your starting point? Where are you in this part of your life today? What makes you happy? So it's about looking at it from a point of gratitude. You know, I'm really grateful that actually I am slightly knowledgeable on what I should and shouldn't be eating. I do have a little bit of knowledge on fitness. I am starting to get into a routine, and I'm really grateful that I've made that decision to actually make this an important part of my life, because health and fitness for me is really, really important, because the more that, you know, we are what we consume, right? I talked about this earlier. So I want to be able to have the energy and the fitness and the health to do the things I want to do in the world, right? Nothing will stop me. So for me, you know, it's having that gratitude, but I'm not a 10. So what is it now? Okay, so this is where we're going to go. So when I then look at the goals, for me to go from a 6 to a 10. So I want you to consider this, whatever you've graded yourself in whatever section, I want you to consider for a moment. Let's say you've marked yourself a 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or an 8 out of 10 in this particular value and priority in life. What I want you to do now is just consider for a moment, what would be the things that you would want to achieve in order for you to go from a 6 to a 10, okay? For you to grow, and you might not want to go to a 10, you might think, oh, bite-sized pieces, for you to go to an 8, to grow in that area of your life over the next quarter, over the next 12 weeks. Because 12 weeks you can change anything, right? In 12 weeks you can change absolutely anything. Do you know it takes 66 days to develop a new habit? It's been scientifically proven. 28 days was a myth. This is why people keep starting and failing. They've got that missing link, but they're also working to, prehistoric science, where new age spiritual mind, body and soul connective science has proven that it takes 66 days for anybody in the world to develop a new habit that unconsciously works without them even thinking. They develop and train their reticular activating system. So in the next 12 weeks, what goals, what things would you need to do to take you from a 6 out of 10 to maybe an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 or even a 10 out of 10, if that's what you are focused on? Remember, it's about what's important to you. Okay, so just think about them goals, right? So I'm going to think about, and let me just share with you mine now, right? So this is one of the ones that I did before. Funny enough, I had a health and fitness goals. So funny enough, back then, I graded myself a 7 out of 10. I've gone backwards. Silly sausage, right? But I'm going to share with you, actually, I've had a shoulder injury for some time and I've really been limited on pushing myself at the gym. And it comes from wakeboarding. And I've got to have some physio on it because I've tried to be careful around it so I wouldn't push myself. But look, let's be honest, unless you're pushing and stretching and burning, the success lies within the ears, and it's the burn that produces the results. So in my health and fitness, I'm not being unable to produce that burn due to really not being able to push myself in fitness, even in yoga, believe it or not. Okay, so actually, I can understand why I've now graded myself a 6 out of 10 because of an injury. So, but in here, you'll see what I did in this section here. I started marking, and I'm going to go back to previous one because rather than me doing it while I'm on the webinar talking, it's okay for you guys because you're acting whilst I'm talking. But for me, I want to give attention to you, not attention to me at the moment. I'm going to share with you some things that I put. So I noted 4 goals for me to go from a 7 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10 in health and fitness. Build muscle back, abs and upper body, full, can't even read my own writing. Upper body strength, full body more defined. Eat well, as I've learned in a period of my time in life. I'd learned a lot about nutrition through doing. And, simple things like, we should, everything really start to our bodies, right? Eat right for your body. Really when you're eating, you should have a palm sized of protein, of meat, and then you should have like a hand size of green veg, for example, right? Push self at the gym and other sports. So I set 4 goals in line with the 4 things that I felt that I needed to do to take me from a 6 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10 in that important area of my life. So what I want you to do now, whatever area of life that you've just taken, what things, just in that goal section, like I showed you here, what things do you feel, what are the goals for you that you feel that you need to do to grow in that area? For example, I had a self-development. I marked myself a 6 out of 10 self-development. One of my goals was to read a book a month, attend monthly events, nail and achieve passion to succeed goals, complete a program a month, learn Spanish. So these were my own personal development goals for me to feel satisfied in that area of life because it was really important to me. So these are action goals we're looking at the moment, not necessarily reward goals. What things do you need to do? What goals do you need to do to take you from a 6 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10? So I want you to just write in that trivial pursuit triangle, what you need to do in your goal section. Ready, steady, go, if you haven't already done so. So remember, this is about you feeling happy with your achievements. What would you need to do to grow in that area of your life? What would the goals be? What would the things that you would need to achieve and do to feel happy with your contribution in that priority and value? Once you've done that, one of the things that, we're going to kind of move on. How's everyone doing? Conscious of your time this evening. We're an hour into the call, which I'm really happy to be here all night, but conscious of your time. So how's everyone doing so far? Anybody want to share anything in the chat? You're very welcome to. One of my goals, I set a passion to succeed goal. Passion to succeed is one of my businesses that I'm really passionate about. And, I had a goal, I had 6 goals. Develop a 7-week coaching program, re-record and rewrite Elastic Attitude. Laura, just focus on one at the moment, whichever one that you've got. You can think about this. So you could have family, could be your business, could be your health, could be your wealth and investments, could be your personal development. There's all sorts of things that you could choose from. Could be spirituality. It's really just finding things that are important to you. But does anyone want to share theirs for a little bit of inspiration for Laura? Please feel free to do so. But at the moment, you're just going to focus on one. And look, and here's the thing, Laura, right? Let me be really truthful. It's what matters to you. Do you know, if you only have 4 things, 4 segments, and that's happy, and that's what you're happy with, then go with the 4. Okay, not one size never fits all. Okay, I'm suggesting 8. I think you as you grow and develop, you'll certainly find 8. But if at the moment, Laura, you've got 4, 5, 6, or 7, be happy with that. Focus on them 4, 5, 6, or 7 values. Just because somebody else has 8 or 3 or 6 has no matter to you. Because remember, it's what's in matters that's congruently important to you. Make a business into more of a business, not a hobby. Okay, fantastic. So you've probably all kind of graded yourself in that goal section. What are the goals? What are the things that you want to achieve in that area of your life to feel happy, content, and fulfilled? Then in the outer section, it's about looking at the actions. What are your action steps? So, for you to, if I go back to the fitness one, I've put here, follow a new structured plan. Okay. Now one of the things for me is to get my shoulder sorted. I've been trying to do it myself by not pushing myself and trying to ease myself in, having massages, the odd chiropractor visit to ensure that my body's in line. But now I'm going to go to a physio sports massage and actually probably get some proper treatment, because that's really important. Because unless I remove that block, that is an action to take for me to enable myself to be able to really push myself. I hope that makes sense. Thank you, Sarah. But look, what goals? Follow a new structured plan. Break down into 12 to 13-week goals and deadlines. Have a finish line. You really do need a finish line. You need something to stretch to. Okay. Brilliant, Sarah. Absolutely fantastic. So what I want you to do is so the idea is, now look, here's mine from 8 months ago. And, I'm going to start now. I'm doing this training with you guys. This will be my focus over the next week to complete. And I say week to complete because I'm actually going to be doing this with my little girls. Every year, we're going to move on to the next step in a moment, but I want to cover this. Every year I buy my girls an adventure book. I've hidden them upstairs. And I get them to goal set in the front of the adventure book, like what things they want to do, what do they want to learn, what do they want to achieve, what adventures would they like to go on, what they'd like to see, what they would like to experience, all sorts of things like that. and then they become my goals for the year, right? To kind of be able to fulfill them with my girls so that they have gratitude and appreciation. And throughout the year, they write an adventure. So this week they break up on the 19th, I think it is. I'm in Sweden for a few days until the 18th. On the 19th, I get them and I will have them while their mum's at work for the following 3 days. So I'll be running my business around my girls and my life. And whilst we're going to be doing their adventure books together, we're going to be talking about this and doing it together. Now, this isn't something that I'm going to do with them at this point in life, but they're going to help me do this. And we're going to do all of that sort of stuff together, which I'm really, really excited about, okay? Because we have a moral obligation to influence people and make them believe in themselves or empower them to believe in themselves. So look, this wheel of life is really, really important. What it does is it establishes where you are with your values and your priorities. It gets you to put some goals in place that help you go from where you are to where you want to be. And then also you get the action steps in the outside. So you develop steps of action. Now, if you're unsure, right? So, you may be, new to health and fitness, or you may be new to personal development, or new to business, or developing an area of your life which you're new on, but you know where you are, you know where you want to be, you know what your goals are, but you're not too sure of the actual roadmap. Then there's always somebody around you out there that you can seek advice from in any walk of life, in business, in sport, in health, in wealth, and investments. So you can always reach out to people. And, one of the things I learned many, many years ago, if someone's where you want to be in life and you'd like to pick their brains, very, very rarely will you find, if you rang somebody up and say, hey, look, I'm really passionate about achieving X, Y, and Z in my life, and I'm very inspired about what you've done, and I wondered if you would be happy for me to take you out for lunch so that I can, really learn from your mind, ask you some questions and discover, what it is that you've done to achieve the level of success you have, so that, I can learn from you and I can look to mirror that into my life so I can develop the same level of success. Very few people, I think you'll find, to say, no, I haven't got time. People love to share. Successful people love to be able to influence other people too. Okay, so reach out if you need to. You may have people that work with you. You may already have a coach and a mentor. Everyone needs a coach and a mentor, right? Everybody needs a coach and a mentor. So you may already have one in place. My advice to you is reach out to them and make sure that you get the right action steps in place. Your goal and ambition is to have this complete before Christmas, okay? You might get really excited. You might get yourself some colored pens and pencils. I've done this with people before, and they take ages because they've got OCD with coloring in. You might be that kind of person, right? But it doesn't matter. It's what's really, really important to you, as long as you complete, okay? As long as you complete. So what are your action points? What are you going to do in the next 24 to 48 hours to get started on completing your blueprint for success? What actions are you going to start implementing to start growing from a 6 to a 10? Okay, because action supersedes absolutely everything. You might just be working on one area, okay, right? So you might have just worked on one area so far. So you're going to have action steps to start taking. Start taking them action steps, folks, okay? Whilst you're building the rest. So you might only have 2 filled in, but look, there's no time like the present. Get urgent. If you've got action steps in 2 areas, start taking them now. So what are the action steps that you're going to be taking in the next 24 to 48 hours? Thank you, Karen. It's really kind of you to say. And I think motivating people is really important. And I think one of the key things is that we get people motivated into action. And this is why, Karen, it's so important that your values and priorities are congruent with your goals, because then the motivation that you get in the outside arena has a positive impact, because you're emotionally driven from the inside. It's our inside that creates the outside. This is so important that you spend time on. We're very busy in the world today. There's millions of data coming into us on a weekly basis. Our phone's always pinging, right? But one of the key points of focus is to spend time on yourself, get focused on what you truly, really, really, really want, and you will learn to develop the skills that are required. And when you know where you want to go, all the why in the world, all the obstacles in the world will never stop a man or lady whose time has come. So in this notes section, what I'd like you to start doing, what would the rewards be? Okay. Now you will have all sorts of other goals. You might have goals, things that you want to share with other people. So part of your family goals, for example, part of your family goals, you know, you might be grading yourself like, you know, family and my girls, I graded myself like a 9 out of 10 last year. I'm pretty sure that I did because, yeah, I did because, you know, I love it. Joe, I don't mean to be, you know, egotistical if it comes across that way, but I'm a really good dad, right? Because I love being a dad. I love my little girls. I love being around them. They literally light up my world. And but I graded myself out a 9 out of 10. And 3 things I put as my goals last year was more quality time, continued adventures, and fun together. And do you know what? We have fun together where we could just be sat in the house, you know, doing the adventure books, watching a movie. Here's the crazy thing, just going back to, forgive me, I forgot who mentioned it now, but someone mentioned about, you know, not being driven by money. And here's the thing, you know, like the adventure books, I'm not unskilled to be able to create an adventure book. It costs me £19.95 each every year to be able to have that reward with my girls. Anyway, why am I telling this with you? So I'm kind of, I guess, reconfirming that point. So I put here, funny enough, what are the action points? Write adventure lists with Isabella and Alana for 2018. Ring my sisters more. They might say I've been a little bit rubbish at that. Visit family in Liverpool with the girls. Do you know, I still need to grade myself because I haven't done that. But you know, things and challenges are brought our way. A lot changed for me in 2018. So my focus has really been on dedication. Spend quality time, cook for my folks once a week. I cook for them quite a lot, actually. But, you know, I have the pleasure of spending a lot of time with my parents. And, do you know, I think about that a lot sometimes. And, you know, I'm quite blessed to be able to do that, you know, spend quality time with my girls, quality time with my parents, because they really are the nucleus of my life and my family. So you do need to reward yourself. Now, these rewards could be a manner of things. You know, I talked about cars earlier. One of the rewards for my dedication in business this year was to get a car that was congruent with the girls and me. And you know, you may remember if you actually go back and you watch last year's training I did around about the 20th of December, I think it was, you know, I was talking about how Alana likes 4x4s and Isabella loved the Porsche 911 we had. And, you know, the Porsche 911 was great. We had it a while ago. It was the first car. Well, Porsche was one of the first words that Isabella ever said. She's 10 now, but we actually obviously had that a while ago. And so we've actually got a mixture of both. And this car is going to be fantastic for our adventures. The girls love it. They're comfortable in it. There's plenty of room. It floats down the road, and it's just a really good, strong, safe, and beautiful car. So it ticks all the boxes in line with my priorities to go on an adventure. I've already got an adventure planned in April for 2 weeks in Spain and August for 5 weeks in Spain, where we'll go in this car that we wouldn't have been able to do in a Ferrari 458, for example. So what I'm saying is you will reward yourself. So there's going to be goals. It could be, you know, adventure goals where you go away with your loved one for a weekend away in Paris, or you go away for a week's adventure with your children to Center Parcs, and you do all of these crazy adventure things like climbing trees and mountain bike racing and whatever it may be. So you really want to be rewarding yourself. So what I want you to do is on here, as you're filling them out, for, you know, working on the action goals, getting the, where you are on your goals, working on your actions, what would the reward be for you for being dedicated to that area of your life? Where would you go? What would you do? What would you share? And this is where you can get some congruency, where maybe, that car or that holiday or going, taking your partner shopping, or going to London for the weekend and going and eating in a nice restaurant, seeing a show maybe, whatever it may be. I want to challenge you to reward yourself. And I think that's really, really important that you have these reward goals. And more often than not, it's very easy to set reward goals. I'm going to show you something else in it. And these reward goals could be, you know, the house of your dream, the cars of your dreams, the weddings of your dreams, the holidays of your dreams, the lifestyles of your dream, X amount of properties, you know, being able to do X, Y, and Z. And I think everything kind of does always fall back to your financial wealth that you get. And, you know, it's you're rewarded financially for your professionalism and your commitment to your industry and what you give. So if you focus on giving, and this goes back to, was Jane that mentioned financial wealth earlier and it not being important? No, but you know what? At the end of each day, what's important? If you give value without need of compensation, the reward comes, which enables you to do the things with the people you love, right? Imagine being able to write an adventure book with your daughters or your partner, and then every year, because you know you work hard in business and you contribute without need of compensation, every year you're able to go on an adventure, see the sights, experience new things, new cultures, new adventures with the people you love. That is a world is your oyster, okay? So always reward yourself. And this is something that I really want to kind of just go into a little bit of detail about, the importance of creating goal boards. I'm going to start creating some new goal boards again with my children. Okay, we're going to work on some goal boards together that are in line with this. These are my old goal boards. I still have them. We've got a 2020 World Sports Tour. That's still a really important goal. So what I'm going to do is actually, that's a goal that I set to do with my girls, but actually I'm unsure whether or not they're going to enjoy doing them sports. So we might end up turning the football into going to a ballet, or we might just stop going to watching, I don't know, kickboxing in Thailand and end up going and watching gymnastics in Russia. Got no idea. But the goal is a 2020 World Sports Tour, to take my girls to different countries to watch different sports from that country, to show them people that are driven and passionate about what they do. The Spanish lifestyle dream was achieved. My life's purpose, this is still really important to me. Properties, you know, been a great investment. So it's about having goal boards that are really important. You had a property thing. Everyone's played Monopoly. 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. Always been in my mind. So, you know, I think having these goal boards are really important, where you can really get congruent with the things that you want to bring into your life, making sure they meet your values. You know, the Spanish villa, the Spanish dream met my values to be able to go away with my kids for over a year, put them into Spanish school. So it was a drive, because I really wanted to do that with my girls. So I needed to have things there. And because of that drive, all of the little things on that goal board, you're unable to see it. But on that goal board, I'd put a picture of a boat, a picture of a jet ski. I'm not even really a big boat fan, right? But ended up... No, Sean, you can't, mate, really. But I thought it'd be really cool, right? So, but yeah, so, you know, ended up with a jet ski and a boat. But they were just on the goal board. But the main goal was what was connected to my priority and my values, to be able to help my girls, you know, discover a new culture, learn a new language, and everything else came with it, because how hard I had to work enabled us to then have these little things. And these, you know, the girls like, oh, Daddy, can we go out on the jet ski? And, you know, just amazing, right? So gives you a bit of an insight in the importance of that. What I then want you to do, I'm just thinking, is it on my phone? It's not. It's creating a mind movie. And I'll do a different training on this at some point. But once you've got your goals in place, creating a mind movie is really important, where you can create a 2 to 3 minute movie. And it's really, really easy to do. What the time takes is really getting the right photos. And what you do with a mind movie is you take a mixture of current success, so things that you've succeeded at in the past. Look, you've all stepped out of your comfort zone and succeeded in one way, shape, or form. Some of you, many, right? So you take a mixture of current successes, previous successes, where you've been recognized, awarded, made feel great by yourself, along with adventures that you've been on, coupled with, you know, if you've been, you know, on a holiday with your family, or if you've had, you know, a magical meal with your loved one, or whatever it may be. You get a mixture of images of good memories, things you've done, things you've succeeded at, you know, adventures you've been on, and you couple them with goals, ambitions, and certainty of the future. So you'd take maybe goals of that Spanish villa, or goals of, you know, going to that city with your loved one, or goals of achieving this level of success or this point of recognition. So you take a mixture of the goals that are important to you in 2019, the successes of the past, whether it was this year or previously, and you mix them up, and you also get some quotes, right? And you get some quotes that might be really powerful for you, like what the mind conceives, the body can achieve, for example. So you take really empowering quotes that matter to you, and you create a show reel on PowerPoint. And I can show you how to do this at a later date, but you need to start with the goals, the previous stuff, and the quotes. And you can create a show reel. And if you look on the Passion to Succeed page, you'll see my mind movie at some point. I'll look at trying to repost it. I need to do another one in line with stuff this year. And then what you do is you then associate a track with that, like your favorite song, and you turn it into a movie. Sounds really complicated, right? But it's really, really, really easy to do. If I can learn how to do it, then I know you can too. The key is getting a mixture of successes, adventure of the past, coupled with goals, ambitions, and certainty of the future, like images. Okay, so it could be, you know, you being recognized on stage, could be you on an adventure with people you love, and it could be then, you know, next to the next adventure, you want to go to Rome with your loved one, or you want to qualify for this trip, or whatever it may be. You create a show reel, you add some positive quotes in there, and you put all your goals into a show reel, and you create a movie. And you can do that on a Mac, and you can do that on a PC. Really, really simple to do. Then you can put that movie onto your mobile phone by simply emailing it to yourself. Once it's in your email on your phone, you save it to your phone, and you know what? You can watch that every morning and night, and it's mixed up with goals that are really connected to your values and your priorities, because you've done this, and it's got your favorite uplifting songs. So do you know what? When the wind blows, when the challenge comes your way, when an obstacle presents itself, you can watch your mind movie, and it reminds you of what the emotional driving force really, really is. So, so empowering. So worth a little bit of time. So I can talk to you about that later, but create your own mind movie. It really, really is important. And your mission, folks, is to create a 2019 to remember. I'm really, really grateful for you spending some time with me this evening. I challenge you to move forwards with vigor, with hope, with desire and purpose. You know, look at fast forward into December 2019 as if you were writing a journal. And almost writing, you know, a little, you know, card on, you know, or a little paragraph on how amazing your year's been, you know, what adventures you've been on, what you've been able to share with your loved ones, what things you've succeeded and what things you've learned, who you've become. Imagine what would it be that you were writing. Fast forward yourself and look at goals in present tense, like, you know, being able to have quality time, you know, on adventures around the UK in our, you know, newly purchased Volkswagen camper van. And, you know, we go on family adventures every weekend, or every other weekend we're off somewhere new, or we've been here, and here. Whatever it is that floats your boat, it's really, really important. So I'm going to say good night. I'm going to thank you very, very much for your time. I hope that this webinar has given you an insight into the importance of really getting your values and priorities connected with your goals, because that's what the missing link for most is. Have a wonderful evening, and may your Christmases, this Christmas and in the future, be filled with fun, love and happiness. May 2018 be a cracking finish to the year, and 2019 be the fastest start for you to live the most audacious year you've ever lived. Have a great evening and good night.